The thing I remember most about Grandma Fallon was her love for the movies and her love for the cinema. Born in 1918, Audrey came of age during the Great Depression, and I think for her, going to the movies was a way to escape the harsh realities of the times. She used to like to tell the story of going into the neighboring big city. She was from outside of Utica, and watching three, four, five movies in a row. And her enthusiasm for cinema was contagious. She influenced all of us. My dad used to like to tell about going to the movies and the special bond they shared over their love for James Bond movies and um, her love for the Academy Awards. She loved to see the celebrities and she loved to talk about the gossip and Hollywood and the glamour and um, she just was a lot of fun to be around. When I think of words I would use to describe her, I would talk about how she was kind of shy and how sweet she was, and she was kind of easily embarrassed. And there's a story about her that always made me laugh that with her passport, she didn't like her middle name. On her birth certificate, it was listed as Alethea, and she didn't want anyone to know that, so she told people that her real middle name was Elizabeth because she thought that sounded better. And her enthusiasm for life, I think, is what people remember most about her. She just loved being around young people and hearing what they had to say, and she had a laugh that was great and would make other people start laughing. And I wish I had known that we wouldn't have all the time together in the world, because there's so many things I would have asked her and different historical moments that she lived through and big events like the moon landing and the civil rights movement and the Great Depression. And she did used to like to talk about hearing Lou Gehrig's speech in real time on the radio station. And she loved FDR's fireside chats. And she was just such a positive, wonderful lady. And uh, there's not really a lot I know about her childhood. My family doesn't talk about it much. Her mother was actually in the circus, and I don't think she was very close to her. And I wasn't able to find out a lot of information, but um, she never complained about the hardships she faced when she was younger. She just would focus on the positive, and for her, family was just a huge thing. She met my grandfather when she was 14, and she liked to tell me that she was a freshman and he was a senior in high school, and she thought this was just a really big deal. And she was madly in love with him and stayed that way until he passed away the year I was born in 1976, so I never got the chance to know him. But she was crazy about him and would talk about him until the day she died, well into her 80s. And she was just such a funny lady. She drove right up until the end. I remember her just speeding around. She had a little tiny car that she drove, and she drove like a maniac, and she would just drive from one place to another, and she just was always in a hurry to get places. And she loved her family, and she had a daughter, Bonnie, and my uncle Mike, my dad's oldest brother, and then my dad, who's pictured here. And she would make everyone laugh because my dad actually got his name, he found out years later, from her and my grandfather's favorite movie, Pat and Mike, starring Katharine Hepburn. And my dad was named Pat, and that was actually the Katharine Hepburn character. And we just always thought that was really funny. I think that sums her up a lot. She just loved movies and wanted to make it a part of her life and influenced all of us. And every year, my family has an Academy Awards party and we vote on our choices. And she took movies so seriously, and they weren't just films, they were just ways to enrich your life. And you could get so much out of it. And her outlook on life was amazing. She just was so positive, and wonderful to be around and talk to. And I think sometimes that I wish I could have asked her more about just what she loved and the big historical events she lived through. And when you're younger, you don't think of that and you don't think of people in a bigger context. I always knew her as this lady, Grandma Fallon, with the big hair and, the big jewelry. And she just had a laugh that was incredible. And I think about her a lot and miss her every day and wish that I could sit down with her now. And so when I think of her, I think that she's probably up in heaven and she's with my grandfather and they're probably watching their favorite movie and talking about it. And she's probably talking about the Academy Awards being on Sunday and different people that she likes. And she can't wait to see the dresses and just having a lot of fun and bringing that sense of fun to heaven that she brought down here. So I think what I would want people to know about Grandma Fallon and to pay tribute to her life is that she had a wonderful spirit. And I think her ability to just not dwell on things that were sad or you couldn't change is really inspiring and is a message for all of us. And I love you, Grandma Fallon. I miss you. Thanks.